All right, today we're going to look at adding a new step to solving equations. Before we get started on our notes, I'm going to just show you a couple of things. You do not have to write these two down though. So these are two types of equations that we have already learned how to solve. This was what we started off solving, which are called one-step equations. So remember, we talked about the goal is to always get the variable by itself. So in this case, in order to get x by itself, all I had to do was get rid of this plus 3 that's on the same side with the x. And we talked about what are called inverse operations. And what undoes addition is subtraction. So we would begin by subtracting 3 from both sides of the equation. So here recently, we've looked at this step adding to it. So in this case, in order to get x by itself, we have two things going on over here that needs to be gotten rid of. But remember, these two numbers that are on the same side of the equation are called like terms. These are called like terms. So since they're on the same side of the equation, we can go ahead and combine those together with the signs that they have. So we know that this is just a positive 5 that has a 2 being subtracted from it. And 5 minus 2 is 3. So we could write this as x plus 3 equals 10. And now solve it like we did over here by subtracting 3 from both sides. So this 3 and this 8 are on opposite sides of the equation. They're not called like terms. They have to be on the same side of the equation to be like terms. So same thing is going to happen today with variables. So when you have variables that are on opposite sides of the equal signs, these are not like terms. Those have to be gotten rid of using our inverse operations. So if it's positive, you're going to have to subtract it away. If the variables are on the same side of the equal sign, like are here, then these are called like terms. You combine them with the signs that they have. And that's what we just got through learning. 5x minus 2x is 3x minus 30 equals 9. So we're going to be focusing on these today. These are the ones where the variables are on opposite sides of the equal sign. We cannot add those together. They are not like terms. So I want you to just try this real quickly in the middle of your notes. I want you to decide whether to use inverse operations because they're on opposite sides, or to combine like terms because they're on the same side. So look on number 1. Are this 3x and 2x on the same side of the equal or on opposite sides? Well, they're both on the left side of the equal sign. So remember, those are called like terms. So that would be combining like terms. On number 2, the 3x and the 2x, are they on the same side or opposite sides of the equal sign? Well, one is to the left and one is to the right. So those are not like terms. We'll have to use inverse operations on these. So you try number 3 and 4. See if you can pick which one is combining like terms and which one we'll have to use inverse operations on. Okay, so hopefully you saw in number 3 that these are on the same side of the equal sign. So these are combining like terms. These are on opposite sides of the equal sign. So we have to use inverse operations on those. So let's look at some examples. This is not new. This is what we've been doing. These two x's are on the same side of the equal sign. Here's my equal sign. I can draw my line through. So I'm going to combine these just the way they are. I know when I combine x's, I still have an x. I just need to combine the numbers out in front. So in my calculator, I could put negative 7 minus 3. So that is negative 10x. And then bring down my plus 2 equals negative 8. Now I just have a two-step equation. We know we undo addition and subtraction first. So I would subtract 2 from both sides. So I have negative 10x equals negative 8 minus 2 is negative 10. And then I would get rid of the negative 10 in front by undoing multiplication using division. So dividing both sides by negative 10. So we would get x equals 1. So this is a review. We've done that before. This is what's new. This is where my x's are on opposite sides of the equal sign. So I cannot add those together. Those are not like terms. So I have to use what are called inverse operations. So if the x is positive, I have to subtract it away. If it's negative, I have to add it to get rid of it. These are your inverse operations. So if I want to get rid of this minus 4x so that I can get my x's on one side, since it is negative, I'm going to have to add to get rid of it. So I'm going to add 4x. So do you see those will cancel? A negative 4x and a positive 4x will cancel. But what I do to one side, I have to do to the other side. So I'm going to add 4x over here as well. So I have 13 on this side equals 1. And negative x, remember, is the same thing as negative 1x. So negative 1 plus 4 is 3. So this gives me 3x, and it's positive, so I have to put the plus sign in front. So now to get the x by itself, I have to get rid of the 3 and the 1, but we get rid of the 1 first. It's positive, so I'm going to subtract it away. And then I can get rid of that 3. That's multiplication, so I use division. Dividing both sides by 3 gives me x equals 4. All right, so let's go back up and solve this one up here as another example. So again, the 2y and the 8y are on opposite sides of the equal sign. So we have to use inverse operations. If it's positive, you have to subtract. If it's negative, you have to add. So if I want to get rid of this 8y, since it's positive, I'm going to subtract 8y to get rid of it. And what I do to one side, I have to do to the other side. Now I'm not going to put it underneath the 26 because this doesn't have a y on it. Since I'm subtracting away 8y, I have to put it underneath the 2y here because those are my like terms. So I have it once over here and once over here. Now these cancel. A positive 8y and a negative 8y cancel. So I'm left with 4 on the left side. Over here, these both have a y, and 2 minus 8 is what I would put into my calculator, and that is negative 6. So this would be negative 6y. And then bring down that minus 26. So now this is just a two-step equation. To get y by itself, I have to get rid of the negative 6 and the minus 26, but we know we undo subtraction first. So I'm going to add 26 to both sides. So that equals 30 over here. These cancel, leaving me with, don't forget that negative sign, negative 6y. So now I can undo that multiplication by dividing by negative 6 on both sides. So I get y equals 30 divided by negative 6 is negative 5. All right, so that is what we call variables on both sides when they're on opposite sides of the equal sign. Not the same side. Remember, those are like terms. We've already done that. So we've got to be able to tell the difference between when they're on the same side and when they're on opposite sides of the equal sign.